All right, how y'all doing out there? This is your man Charlie Cash. We're right here on the 3V Leader Show for another awesome week. As you have seen the flyers, as we have talked about it, this is the Education Week. This week on the 3V Leader Show, where we're being visible, vocal, and valuable. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. R&B, hip hop, gospel, it's all of that happening right here on Rap98.com. And today I have a very special guest. You may have seen him before, maybe last year. He was on the show with Rap98.com. We're in a new location, new place, but the same man, Pastor Anthony Anderson, the executive director of Memphis Business Academy. How you doing today, sir?
Doing well, Charlie. I appreciate the opportunity to be here and excited about this conversation.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And y'all know this man, no doubt, is a game changer in our city. You're watching some of the things that he's been doing in the Fraser community, now in Bear Clare area, and then the Hickory Hill area.
Hickory Hill, yeah.
We're going to talk about some of those great schools that he got, the charter schools here in the city of Memphis, and how that he's moving education forward in a innovative way, talking about business. And that's one of the things that we are truly excited about, Pastor, in the work that you're doing as a Memphis Business Academy. Well, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got to the point of starting these schools.
Well, again, I'm honored to be here, especially talking about education. That is something that's central to my heart. Like many people in a city like Memphis, I think when I was younger, I didn't have some of the opportunity that as I got older, I realized I missed. So as part of my formative years and growing up and becoming a professional, I wanted to find ways to give opportunities for the least of these, for children. So if I had one point to say, if there's nothing else, I want to say that all children deserve an incredible opportunity to a high-quality school, a high-quality education. So in everything that I do, first of all, is to figure out a way that all children have access to great schools. I just happen to be planted in Fraser in North Memphis, so that's one of my central focuses. I came to Memphis now almost 25 years ago. I feel like I'm a Memphian. I've been here a long time now.
Yeah, we maybe at 30 years.
30 years. I got 5 more years. I got 5 more years to go before I can be considered a Memphian. But I love this city. And almost 20-something years ago, I started programs in Fraser.
Okay.
Teaching golf programs and encouraging kids to play different kind of sports, golf and soccer.
Okay.
And Fraser was just a focus. And then, lo and behold, I was planted to Fraser to do ministry with a church almost 15 years ago.
Okay.
So we just went from there and grew into a charter school, which I was involved in the charter school movement almost now 18 years ago.
So it wasn't much charter going on when that started. Right?
No. When I first started looking, I started looking at alternative ways to give urban kids a high-quality education.
Okay.
But what I realized in researching across the country that private schools for African-American children were disappearing. In 1998, 99, you did not see independent private schools for African-American kids.
Okay.
The funding just wasn't there. So after researching around the country, I realized that there was a movement in this country called the charter school movement.
Okay.
It was new to Tennessee. It had started in Minnesota in about 1992, but it was coming toward Tennessee.
Yeah.
A couple Congress state legislators were working on bringing the legislation to Tennessee, and I just happened to find that conversation and became a part of it.
Yeah.
And that legislation happened in 2002.
And that's when you first got,
And we did not get our charter until 2004.
Okay.
So the first charter schools, I think, if I recall correctly, were founded in this city in 2003. We were organized in 2004 and did not open up until 2005.
Wow. Well, Pastor Anderson, there's no doubt, man, that you are a savvy business guy. You are working on a major part of development in the French community where you bought a whole shopping center now and moving forward. Where was your business experience before you got into the charter school, or did you have any business experience?
Well, formally, I was never trained in business.
Okay.
But I grew up on the south side of Chicago.
You learned how to hustle and flow.
South side of Chicago, 38th and Ellis for the record.
Okay.
You know, and you sold, you bought and sold all kind of things as a kid.
Yeah.
In a positive way, we call that hustle.
Yeah.
In a positive way.
Yeah.
and it's entrepreneurial. So I never had any formal training in business, but I've always realized that there are a couple of things that move the needle in this country. One of them is education still. Okay. The other is economics / business. So we want to figure out, how do we create an educational opportunity that involves business? Yeah. And that's why we created the Memphis Business Academy. Yeah. And of course, I still believe that the school, the educational institution, can move communities, which is what we are doing. Yeah. So we believe you provide great educational opportunities for children. If that's done well, that should affect the entire community, which then leads to buying up blighted property, shopping centers, blighted land, creating soccer fields, turning old malls into new malls.
Yeah. So you the Dr. Canada of Memphis, Tennessee, because it's no doubt, Pastor, that the concern lies, and I know heavy with me and many, when you talk about that pipeline to prison, and how kids go to school, children go to school, and they're really not getting the education. People are out of the money, and a lot of times they say the charter schools just want to get the dollar. How do you keep from that stigma to actually push the synergy that you're doing, that now doing what you just said, buying malls and growing in that community?
Well, at the end of the day, it's the fruit that the tree bears. Okay. And people like you see the fruit. Yeah. So if I've been doing this work for 15 years and there is no good fruit, that would be a sign that we are not a healthy tree. Right. We don't have to deal with all of that stuff, because we are moving educational opportunities, and with that, positive community development. They go hand in hand. When we grew up, the school was the center of the community. And that is the premise that we take with the charter school that we are a part of, that it should expand everything around it, that housing should become a positive thing, because people want to move in communities where great schools are. And when your property value goes up because there's a great school, then retailers want to come. We have a shopping center now that we're having to turn down vendors for.
Okay. They moving on in. They see the development.
We're saying no. You don't fit our theme, even though you want to pay high rent. Because they want to come to a thriving, hot market. And no doubt Frayser is on the move. For those who have been watching this community, in those around Shelby County area, a lot of times you see in the news the perception that Frayser got crime and things like that, but the housing value is going up, property value is going up, and you got people like you that see the investment of making multiple millions of dollars into that community. It's something happening in Frayser. Yeah, I mean, across the board, I mean, this development that we're doing now is a $14 million development. That's not a small development anywhere. The fact that it's in North Memphis, we feel blessed that we have that opportunity. 14 million is big anywhere. So we're developing. We've taken a shopping center that was blighted, and we've cut it in half, and we're making 60% of that shopping center a high first-class STEM academy.
STEM, okay.
And then we're occupied.
Tell the people STEM, what that means.
STEM means science, technology, mathematics, and engineering. So if you take that umbrella that's called STEM, under that umbrella you have aspects of computer science, coding, videography, what we're doing here. You have biomedical engineering. You have computer design. You have, for little bitty ones, Legos and building of bridges and architectural stuff. So STEM is all of that. And you have to include, of course, the physics and the mathematics with it. So we have infused STEM into everything that we do.
And I can say this about it, but because you're not doing it just because it's a catchword. Your school actually went on to win one of the top robotic program competitions in the state. I think, in city.
We continue to win them. We compete. MLG&W, the University of Memphis, along with MLG&W, annually has what they call the Engineering Day, E-Day. And they have a number of competitions, and they send a kit to a school that's going to participate. And that kit, every school gets the same kit. And kids have to build a solar car. And the last 2 or 3 years, we've either won first place or second place in the high school solar car competition, where the kid has to build, children or students as a team have to put together a solar car that you put on the ground that has to receive the energy from the sun and race.
Wow.
We win.
Yeah, that's awesome. In Fraser, they're making that happen. That tells you to bring the plant to Fraser to get development.
I don't know if you can see this, but I'm going to drop the mic for the first time.
Yeah.
I'll drop it later.
Right.
But yes, I mean, so we're building, we call them STEMineers with the little ones. We're building engineers.
Yeah.
But yeah, we do
There's
all
big
of
money
that.
into the engineering.
It's great money.
Yeah.
There's great money in engineering.
Yeah.
In all aspects of it.
So when you talk about that, Pastor, and so now you got 6 schools. Now
Six schools.
You're expanded out of the Fraser community. You're in Bear Clare and Hickory Hill. What moved you that way, and are you stopping there, or do you see you going forward with the other schools?
So I am an entrepreneur, so that's a challenge for some people because typically business people tend to like a roadmap, and they like to see points on it that they can lay out and say that's a good plan.
Yeah.
But sometimes entrepreneurs go different directions, and we follow trends.
Yeah.
So yes, we have 6 schools. We've gone out of Fraser for the first time. We are applying for a high school as we speak in Hickory Hill.
Okay.
So we have an elementary and a middle school that we started this past August in Hickory Hill, and we will apply for a high school in Hickory Hill that will not open up until 2022, I think.
Okay.
So yes, we do plan to grow.
Yeah.
But from a business standpoint, Charlie, growing is twofold. If you have a good product, you want to expand it, what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, because you believe more people want it.
Right.
But the second part of that is you do scale. It's easier and more efficient to run when you have larger scale. So, for example, administrative costs, my salary spread over 6 schools looks small. If I have 1 school, my salary looks big.
Yeah.
But when you spread that out over multiple schools, it becomes a smaller percentage and a smaller percentage.
Yeah.
That is the goal, so that your people in the central office are not taking up 17, 18% of your income.
Okay.
They become 10 and 9%.
Okay.
With more schools.
For more schools, yeah.
But they're being run well.
Yeah. And I was going to say, speaking of running well, how are your schools doing when you talk about the scale of being on the level 1, level 2 to level 5? Are your schools going in that high category?
Oh, yeah. If you go online to Shelby County's database and look at our schools, typically our schools are either a 4 or a 5 on their scorecard.
Yeah.
Our ACT scores are some of the highest, definitely the highest in North Memphis.
Yeah. Because, I mean, you know the Richardson son scored a 30 a couple
Hello.
years, and then
and we have a lot of 30s.
Yeah.
And a lot of 27s.
Yeah. That's good.
We have people now calling to come to MBA to place their children in our school because of high academics and rigor, and then also the STEM program is off the chain.
Yeah, and 2 of my babies went there from middle school to high school, and they
Incredible.
both own businesses now. One doing the T-shirt business, the other her business. So it was a residue of putting in there.
And what you taught them.
Yeah, and even Rap 98 owners here at Rap 98, their daughter go to school there and learning.
And teaching us a whole lot,
teaching
the little bitty one.
Yes, sir. And so that's what it's all about, Pastor. When you talk about making an impact, being visible, vocal, and valuable, no doubt you're doing that because, I mean, it's unprecedented what you're doing, because many people wouldn't see in Fraser somebody putting $14 million to bring a shopping center in the shopping mall and enhancing its schools, especially at a time when you see Shelby County talking about closing schools. What is that trend that tends to say they're closing but you're enlarging? Why is that happening, you think?
So I want to be careful about critiquing the parent. But I can tell you again that when you have a good product, there's a demand for your product.
Yeah.
So we don't have and have been blessed to not have an enrollment issue. As a matter of fact, I don't have enough space.
Yeah.
We don't have enough space. What we need is more brick and mortar because there's a demand for a high quality product. So us renovating that shopping center is a result of the demand that is in North Memphis. That parents want their children to come to a school where they have top quality teachers teaching language and history and mathematics and art and PE and soccer programs, but also then you add the extra STEM
Yeah.
and robotics. So we're efficient.
Yeah.
We've always been very efficient. And B, there's a great demand for what we offer, and that allows us to grow.
Okay, okay. And speaking of growing, Pastor, one of the things is you develop a school in a community such as Fraser, where have some of the highest at one time infant mortality rate, teen pregnancy rate, some of the highest violent crime rate. We have seen a lot of that reduced, juvenile arrests reduced, but yet we know that the residue of adverse childhood experience and trauma is still there. Sadly, we just had a recent incident
at my school,
at your school,
yeah.
and a family member of mine that went there that was a part of that traumatic experience, that other kids were affected. How do you as a school address the trauma of children that's going through there, at the same time having to scale and be able to adhere to the tests that the state and the mandate,
accountability,
the accountability?
Yep.
How do you keep balance that and be able to?
That's a great question, Charlie. It's a tough balance. Here's the analogy that I give for what it takes to educate a kid in the urban core.
Okay.
So basically, a school system, Shelby County Schools or the Memphis Business Academy, we typically receive and spend about close to $12,000. It's not even really $12,000. It might be $11,100 per kid.
Okay.
I often say, and people say that's too much, and I often say, if you go to any of the private schools in East Memphis,
Right.
the average tuition is $15,000.
Right.
And that's for an affluent family. So you have a kid who's coming out of an affluent household, and you still have to pay $15,000 to educate that kid.
Right.
Why would you think it would be less
Right.
to educate a kid
That
with
don't-
trauma?
Come on now.
And
Yeah.
and they're seeing violence, and they go and painfully they see blight every day, and they wonder, is my community less?
Right.
So here's the balance. We need more.
Yeah.
I am a proponent that charter schools and Shelby County schools should be getting $15,000 and $16,000 per child,
Yeah.
and it should be based upon actually the zip code.
Yeah. The equity and
Equity
Right.
is about zip code. Where are the children struggling? Where are the families struggling the most?
Yeah, yeah.
And then you fund accordingly.
Yeah.
But the problem is, everybody's not going to be as efficient as we are.
Right, right.
And you give us $15,000, we know how to use
We're
that.
gonna make it work.
We're going to make it work.
Yeah, yeah. We can have a rap 9-8 in every class.
all of it.
Yeah, yeah.
So there's a need for those services,
Yeah.
for more counselors,
Yeah.
more collegiate counselors,
Yeah.
more therapists. But painfully, most of our schools cannot afford it.
Right, right. More resource officers. Who
More
deal with
resource
those kids.
officers.
Right, right. Yeah.
We need a kid. When we started our schools out, we had planned to have a kid from 7 o'clock to 7 o'clock, so that they spend as much time as possible
Right.
in a positive,
Right.
nurturing environment.
And no doubt, Pastor, that is needed. Some of those communities you talk about, the adverse community experiences
Yeah.
of that they're going home to, and mothers that's working single-family household 10 hours a day. We're on the bus 6 hours trying to get home, and they're where do they go when they leave?
That's exactly right.
And
And,
it's
you
ripping
can't
that out.
criticize. People say urban people that live in the urban core don't want to work. They're
Right.
working 2 and 3 jobs.
Right.
It's the matter of the income that they're receiving for those hours that
Yeah.
they're working. That's a whole nother conversation,
Yeah.
because that's a living wage conversation
Right.
that affects
That affects that.
the student and trauma.
Right.
So we need more resources.
Yeah.
B, there does have to be a correlation with accountability, financial and academically. So somebody has to say, if we give you $15,000 per kid, we don't want to see everybody in administration driving Bentleys.
Yeah. So one of the things, you're right about that, Pastor, but one of the things is like when I ran into you a couple of years ago on the Hill and going to the Capitol and then letting the legislators know, is that something that we need to see happen even in our urban communities, that we have to mobilize the people, get to the Hill and push for these legislative changes? Is that, the fact that they don't see in voting, making sure that you get to the polls to vote. They know that you are serious about it.
Yeah, and you and I are on the same page because we work together
Yeah.
in mobilizing people and trying to get more people on the Hill. There has to be strategic effort, though, as well. I think I'm a proponent of not going shotgun blast.
Yeah.
Trying to do 12 things at one time. I'm a proponent that you pick out those top 3
Yeah.
and you say, these are the things we're going to work on
Yeah.
until you get them done.
Yeah.
And we collectively go. So if it is finding another $3 million for North Memphis schools to have trauma counseling, then that's what we go to the Hill for.
Right.
But I think what happens is there is so much excitement about mobilization, but there's no organized effort to say legislators are getting 12, 15 different things that they need.
Right.
We need a whole lot.
Yeah.
But from a business perspective, we need 1 and 2 things to focus on, get them done, then focus on another 1 and 2 things, get them done.
Right. Take those steps up.
Yeah.
Well, and I was talking to Commissioner Love even about a resolution, February the 26th. Again, we want you to come out to Shelby County School, 5 p.m. to Shelby County Schools board meeting as we are organizing around a resolution to make all schools trauma-informed, trauma-responsive. We believe, no doubt, that is needed across the board. I thank Commissioner Love and those with Shelby County School who have the 25 schools that are piloting this model to be trauma-informed and trauma-responsive. Yet, for me, Pastor, going down to juvenile court on the regular. For me, answering calls right now, even with families that are children are in trauma that's not part of those models in schools that they're being suspended for right now. I'm saying we have to get about the business of doing more, right?
Right now.
And if we continue to wait, we are in the community 48.9% poverty in our county as a whole, Shelby among African-American children. These kids are going home hungry. These kids are going home to domestic violence because the man maybe have a record, don't have a job, and they fight. These are the things that these children are experiencing daily. And we talked about this with the mayor. I know as somebody who see these children every day, what type of resources are there embedded into your school that help families that come across these type of traumas and things?
So again, we don't have the systematic focus that we need for those extracurricular peripheral things, trauma. And it's within our school. So we're not great at it. We need to be better at it. And you're right, we just had an experience where we had a young student lost her life outside of the school, and we had to figure out how to nurture and support that family. We did the best we could, but there needs to be more. I would say that we are not where we need to be, and we need to get better at it. But back to the 7 to 7 and what we do from an academic standpoint and from a community standpoint, my quick answer is we lower those numbers when every community has more high-quality schools. Fraser's unique now. And I want to plug my colleague Bobby White at MLK, Fraser Community Schools. We can relax and say that at least 2/3 of Fraser high schools have great options. Now, I say that because there's one high school that's failing. But so we want to close the gap so that 99% have great options. But between MLK and Memphis Business Academy, we know that Fraser children have incredible options. That's the quick answer to what you were asking, that when all communities have multiple schools that do everything so that our children don't have time to go out and rob and steal because they're running track and they're studying for robotic competitions and they're studying high-level mathematics and they're becoming poets and writing.
All that matters. Yeah.
All that matters.
Yeah, yeah. And that's the thing is that putting those extra curriculum activities in place in the community, that structure, they don't usually see those opportunities there, is so important. And I know one of the things you're doing in building this new thing, you're building a new football field as well as knocking down trees, getting ready to put a stadium out there in the Fraser community.
Football is the American way of saying it, but we're building for soccer fields as well.
Okay, okay.
We said years ago that we wanted North Memphis to be the soccer mecca, that urban kids who have never known soccer, we've had children now, black children, who have now grown up. They're in 7th and 8th grade. They've been playing soccer since they were in kindergarten.
And it's good money in soccer.
And great money.
Yes,
it's the world sport.
Yeah.
Football is an American sport.
Right.
Soccer is a world sport.
Yeah.
So, yes, we're investing over $500,000 into building up 10 acres where we're going to build a football/soccer field.
Okay.
Around it, we're going to have 2 middle school-sized soccer fields.
Okay.
And then we're also putting 3 small children's soccer fields, so that next year this time, when you drive on Overton Crossing on a Saturday morning, you're going to see 100 and 150 kids playing soccer at 12 in the afternoon.
Wow, that's powerful.
Can I drop the mic?
You can drop it. And we're right here at the AutoZone Stadium where they're getting ready to put the professional soccer team getting
Memphis
ready to start.
901.
Right.
And we brought kids to the exhibition game.
Yeah.
Memphis Business Academy owns, as we speak, the middle school boys Division II soccer championship, the high school boys Division II soccer championship,
Okay.
the high school girls Division II soccer championship. We own those as we speak.
Okay.
Because we are creating a soccer mecca.
Yeah. I didn't know it was other soccer teams. I thought y'all was the only one playing against yourself. But so there's other teams out there playing as well. But soccer was a sport. Soccer was a sport for me, going to the Girls and Boys Club as a young kid that kept me off the street.
That's right.
And as I was a great golder at the time. So if you need somebody to train your golders, I can make it happen. But that's what is needed, Pastor. So let me ask you this. What keeps you up at night when it comes to the work that you do and educating our children?
It goes back to funding. Memphis is a tough market. Painfully, Memphis has an image of the type of leader that they want.
Yeah.
And if you don't fit that template, a lot of times you're not given the resources to do what you want to do.
Yeah.
So we've shown what we can do with limited resources.
Right.
If we had other resources, we could do 10 times what we do.
Yeah.
So what keeps me up at night is that we want to do more. We want that 1/3 of the children that we said painfully don't have a high-quality high school option in Fraser, because if they choose MBA, we only have 435 high schoolers. MLK, I think, has 550 high schoolers.
Yeah.
There's another 400 that go to another school.
Yeah.
Painfully, that group is not getting the high-quality education that they need. What keeps me up at night is that they're not getting the high-quality education that they need.
Right. And the other, probably the third of those who go into other schools outside the community, who now put more stress on the family to have to get them there just so they can have that opportunity.
We created MBA so that a parent would not have to put a kid on a bus 3 hours a day to get to another place to get a high-quality school.
Yeah. Well,
that's our goal.
Well, and no doubt you're on target to continue to make those impacts in this community, Pastor. So what do you see just as a holistic, the impact of education? You know, the concern, as many talk about, the pipeline to prison. So you're in this field. Do you see, when we talk about the global of soccer, the opportunity for children leaving our schools, being able to be on the global market and compete with others? Do you see that coming out of your school? Do you see that as a future of us building kids able to compete on that level? Because I just say this as one, looking at Eureka Math, for example. So a lot of parents, I was talking talking to some today saying, well, I don't even understand that
Right.
math. So
Ooh.
they changed it. I don't know if you're getting it.
Ooh.
It's something hard, man.
It's hard.
But yet I believe, no doubt, as I was talking to some people about it, is that, but the kids in China, they knocking it out the box, right? Yeah. And so they're building bridges overnight, you know.
Right.
How do we get our children to that?
Changes about 10 years ago, and it decided that it was going to move the goalpost. Mm-hmm. That was good and bad. Mm-hmm. It was good for the most part because the goalpost needed to be moved. Mm-hmm. It was too close to the other end zone, so you only had to go 20 yards and you scored a touchdown. Yeah. But in the world market, you still need to go 100 yards. Yeah. So they brought the goalposts and moved it further out, which means that math got harder. Yeah. But it was just making our students more national and global. Okay. So when you see tests, for example, and where we are on standardized tests, mm-hmm. it may look as though we are still so far behind, mm-hmm. but actually we have moved forward mm-hmm. because the test got really, really hard. Yeah. The math, as you said, my wife is a mathematician, so mm-hmm. thank God in my home, my own kids can
send them to her.
Yes, because that third grade math is what ninth grade math, eighth grade math was 7 years ago. Yeah. So in doing that, when a child is what we call proficient, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. they're proficient from a national and global standpoint. Yeah. So now to answer the question about whether or not Memphians are the needle is really being moved, it is. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. But Charlie, we're in a tough spot because yes, we're producing some incredible kids. We're not doing enough of them. Okay. Because we have a high percentile of kids that are still A, not finishing school, B, finishing school, and they're underprepared. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So the other thing that we're doing in an organization that we created recently is called Be Lit, Black and Latinos in Tech in Memphis. Okay. It's designed to focus on the tech arena in this city. Okay. Right now, as we speak, Memphis is under a $22 billion boom. Mm-hmm. Within 5 years.
Talking about the development.
Within 5 years, there's going to be $22 billion worth of development that takes place in this city.
And you speak of that, and I hear even the St. Jude is almost a $40 billion development once they really put the investment.
It may not be that big. But I think it's almost $2 billion. But $2 billion is huge.
You heard the little number. I heard the big number.
The big number, $2 billion. But you put them $22 billion.
Not talking about Tiger Lane,
$22 billion is huge.
That's a lot of money.
How many black millionaires should be made out of $22 billion?
$22 billion, yeah, that's a lot.
How many? So in tech, is about 3 to 5% of a budget for building out. Yeah. That's $600 million. Uh-huh. How many black tech millionaires can be developed out of 600 million? Right. So back to the question, we have to figure out how to take advantage of this boom that's happening in this city and capitalize on it. Mm-hmm. And it goes down to access. Yeah. So back to the Memphis, no, Memphians of color are not proportionally getting opportunities to access this capitalism that others are getting.
Well, you know, when I look at it, because I sat in a commission meeting where they voted on the $950 million to go to Union Road. And in that, though, some of the commissioners was holding back, even city council saying, hey, making sure minorities and blacks are at the table on that. But then a lot of people just pushed it on through, unlike what we seen in Atlanta some years ago when they was going to build the airport there, and how Maynard Jackson and those who made sure African Americans were. So when I moved to Atlanta in 2000, I mean, I'm thinking I'm going in white neighborhood. These was all black millionaires in this community.
And we have these opportunities here, but we have to be very strategic. Yeah. We have to be very focused. That's why we're focusing on tech. 21st century. Yeah. Cabling companies, coding, engineering, infrastructure. Yeah. The opportunities are there. Yeah. So access, back to are we moving the needles? Are people of color getting opportunities? It has to come to a point of getting opportunities to access.
Yeah.
That's the big one.
So the thing is, when you talk about access, is that when I look at Chattanooga, for example, I was over there with my good friend Mara Black Sutherland. I know she's going to be checking in. She's the chief operating officer there in Chattanooga. Then it came up that they are investing in middle school with the kids learning logistical manufacturing and jobs like that. Is how, and I know Senator Katrina Robinson is pushing for a bill of that nature. How important do you see getting them ready earlier, right? That gives them that opportunity around the technology and those skill sets. So when they're coming out of high school, they ready to roll.
It is vital. It's just like sort of like a foreign language. For you and I to pick up a foreign language, and I am working on my Espanol as I speak, you know, for us to pick up a foreign language is difficult when we're older. But when you're younger, they're like a sponge. So technology and everything else is the same. The earlier you can get them involved, they're consuming it anyway. Kids are playing Fortnite. These are complicated games. Fortnite. And I can't name all the games our kids play.
Call of Duty.
Those are complex games.
Right. And they getting it.
And they get it.
I'm telling you, they getting it at 5, 6, 7 years old.
So then you just take those games and you unpack them to talk about how did you get to Fortnite to create, because Fortnite and all those games are versions of coding. Creating things and building things. It's architectural.
That's powerful.
So what we do, what Katrina's talking about, you systematize that same process and make it a class. They're already doing it. So we bring them into a structured environment and we systematize it so that there's an end result. And we teach them how to unpack Fortnite to go backwards. How did you get that character on the screen? This is how it happened with coding.
That's a game changer.
It's a game changer. And it's doing it. So we do Project Lead the Way for our elementary kids. We do, again, biomedical engineering. We do computer science. We're doing cybersecurity certification. We do it all. But you go backwards so that now we have students who have been with us 4 years from kindergarten, first, second, and third. What I do with my high schoolers in technology, I won't be able to do with them because they're going to be so advanced when they come to me.
Well, you know, Pastor, it was been said, and a study was done. They said most kids, even when they go off to college, by the time they get to their second and third year in college, what they learned the first year is almost not
changed,
relevant.
especially in technology. When you talk about artificial intelligence, AI, different coding, AI and everything that we do with driverless cars.
It's something I seen the other day. I forgot what country it was, but you can YouTube this, that they built a bridge out of 3D.
That's right.
So
all a 3D machine.
The 3D machine.
FedEx has several of those.
Built a bridge that the bikes and stuff in the community is riding over.
We have a partnership. We have a partnership with FedEx, and we took about 15 students just recently to their headquarters down in Collierville to specifically look at their 3D machines that build propellers.
That's scary now. You're putting propellers on the plane.
On the airplane.
And it came out of 3D machine.
I have a 3D, because you have small 3D printers that we have 2 of them at MBA. That really no other school has in the city. We have 2 of them.
We're going to be flying in a 3D airplane.
You'll fly? It'll build a house.
Right. I see that. I seen that,
So that technology is there.
Right. But what is holding back for us policymakers to move so we can begin to educate children in that capacity? Because see, we know it's there. It's going to be, and it's going to grow even further. What's keeping, other than the fact they have bringing in these companies to do Tennessee Ready, that never ready for these kids when it comes to evaluating them? What is it going to take, Pastor, to get our policymakers to change the game?
Your 3 V's. And more people buying into it.
Being visible, vocal, and valuable.
Parents have to. So back to the school being a community. We have to grow children, grow parents to be voices, to then go to Capitol, Nashville, and persuade legislators. Memphis painfully is in the minority when it comes to state legislators. So I'm convinced,
mostly Democrats.
But I'm convinced the state is not interested in doing some things painfully because of political reasons.
Right.
But we have to impact that and get legislation that supports it so that all children South Memphians and children, there's some good schools in South Memphis. I could name several of them.
Yeah.
But most of them don't have access to what we're talking about.
Yeah, yeah.
They've never seen a 3D printer and actually played with it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I have students who have now, in 3 years in a row, have built drones from a 3D printer.
Yeah.
And flown it.
Flown the drone. Wow.
Every
and
part.
that's a money maker right
Every
there.
part.
Yeah.
From a 3D printer.
Wow.
So, but those 3D printers cost me a lot of money.
Yeah, yeah.
So I had to sacrifice one area in order to give access.
Yeah.
Again, access.
Yeah.
And painfully, we have too much bureaucracy in the larger systems. So those type of schools, if they don't have 3V people,
Right.
they're not getting access to all these amenities and opportunities.
So when you talk about that, Pastor, do not business owners see the value in that?
They don't,
to
Charlie.
make that
They
investment?
don't. They
Yeah.
don't, Charlie.
Yeah. Sadly, they don't.
They don't.
So when we talk about some of the traumas, I'm going to tell you the synergy, Pastor, that I'm seeing. And again, you're listening to rap98.com, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, hottest rap, R&B, gospel, soul, right here on Rap 98. Again, I have Pastor Anthony Anderson, the executive director, CEO of the Memphis Business Academy right here in Memphis, Tennessee. And again, we want you to stay tuned throughout the week. Tomorrow, my special guest will be interim superintendent, Dr. Ray of Shelby County Schools, as well as Commissioner Joyce Coleman of District 9 will be with me tomorrow on the show. And then on Friday, we're going to have School Board Commissioner District 3, Stephanie Love, as well as School Board Commissioner Makiska Bibbs, Sister Bibbs. Miska Bibbs, she's going to get me. But she'll be here with us as well. I think she's over District 9.
Yeah.
So, again, appreciating all of those guests who are, again, coming with great information, as Pastor Anderson has shared a lot of it today. Pastor Anderson, I know people are out there saying, hold up, who is this guy? And how can I get connected? Because you're saying some great things when it comes to technology and how it's going to move Memphis forward. It sounds like you're going to run for mayor one day. I'm just going to throw that out.
Don't get me fired.
but I know even you ran for city council a couple of years ago. So it's something in your blood. Is it saying something in 2019?
Soon.
Okay.
We're going to talk about it soon.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, but I think that, Pastor, it's going to take people like you that's been out there, that have done it, that know the ins and outs. I think that the reason why a lot of people are excited even about Dr. Ray, who's going to be with us tomorrow, is because he came up through the ranks. He was an educator, academic.
That's correct.
He understands the trauma and everything firsthand, being in those classrooms. I think that is important a lot of times when it comes to doing what you got to do. But sometimes, you can just do it. Because I never did radio, but I know how to flow.
There you go.
And that's that preacher in me. But again, Pastor, as we get ready to wrap up, tell the people how can they get in touch with your schools, where are you located, and how can they reach out to you?
So we are called the Memphis Business Academy Charter Schools. We do have a website. I don't know all the acronyms, but you could Google the Memphis Business Academy Charter Schools.
Okay.
I am Anthony Anderson. If you associate that with the Google, everything will come up. We do have 6 schools. So we have 3 in Frazier, my main campus, and my newest elementary school, or one of the newest, the Memphis STEM Academy. Then we have the Berkeley campus, which is off of Macon Road and Berkeley. We have about 350 kids there. It's an incredible campus. And then we do have 2 campuses, or 2 schools out in Hickory Hill. But everything that we do is about, giving opportunities for children, and then we believe with that, the peripheral benefits of creating great schools is that you, in turn, create incredible communities. It does not happen overnight. It cannot be fast results, because what we see in Memphis did not happen overnight. It's happened over many years. Painfully, I think you and I are on the same page. There's a lot of work to do to turn Memphis around, but I'm encouraged because I see Memphis turning around. The issue is that we have to find a way to engage that crowd that is 19 to about 29 and find opportunities of employment beyond the $9 an hour.
Okay. Yeah.
Please hear me on that one.
Yeah.
The problem of Memphis is that we have inadvertently created a workforce that is based, you said it, based upon a $9 an hour temporary job.
Yeah.
And I think all the leaders are realizing that we cannot grow our economy or be competitive nationally
Yeah.
with that workforce.
Yeah.
So you're seeing a subtle change, not a dramatic change,
Yeah.
of creating a different type of workforce that can embrace this biomedical UT St. Jude movement that's happening in this city.
Yeah, yeah. I even say the technical movement.
The tech.
Because, Pastor, that's where we got to go. We're talking about technical move you into millionaire status overnight because
That's
it's
right.
global opportunity. If everybody see one product right now to all of our hundreds of thousands of listeners right now that's streaming in, you can buy my book, How to Become More Visible, Vocal, and Valuable to Your Community. Guess what? You can get it on Amazon right now and make me a millionaire by tomorrow. Is your opportunity, but that's how it happens.
That's right.
And so, again, getting young people that opportunity to be creative content creators and basically sit down and be able to share that talent that's on the inside of them is something that I see in your school. Even when I look at the robotics class, I look at the different things that they're doing, Pastor, is a game changer opportunity. So I appreciate you, being a guest here on today,
Thank you.
sharing so much valuable information with our listeners. Again, throughout this week, you want to stay tuned. But next week is our County Commissioner Week. So as he talked about some of those Millennium Commissioner Tammy Sawyer and Commissioner Mikhail Lau, young elected officials that will also be with us, and some of the others, Whitley Brooks and others, will be with us next week as we talk about not only the Millennium, but how they put some of those resources behind opportunities such as this in our community. It's changing, Pastor.
Game changer.
Game changer.
And what you're doing is game changing. You're getting messages out. You're getting messages in using creative venues to get the word out. And again, I am encouraged about this city and what is happening. We have to take advantage of the opportunities and grow wealth.
Grow wealth,
Wealth.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it. If we do that, Pastor, you're going to see crime go down because people too busy making money to go rob, steal, and kill.
They got no time.
Right.
And that's the same thing with the schools.
Yeah.
If you're challenging students,
Yeah.
all those students that we see at 201 Poplar, we haven't figured out how to intrigue their intellect.
Well, but Pastor, I'm going to say something real quick to that. Those children, I'm glad you hit that, are bosses already.
They're bosses.
The OGs told them they can own the block.
That's what I'm saying.
So if you're trying to just throw me down with a number 2 pencil and I just made $1,000 last, teach me how to do that legally.
We have not intrigued their intellect.
That's it.
They're brilliant.
Yeah.
They're brilliant hustlers.
They
so we have to teach them how to be entrepreneurs.
In the right way.
In the right way.
Yeah. It's tapping into that's their norm, but we're going to change their norm, right?
Teaching in the 21st century. That old way of sitting everybody down at a table at 20 chairs and making everybody think the same is done.
Yeah. I say this to the funders and all those people out there listening. Give Pastor Anthony Anderson $30 million this year and watch. You can take that $25 million they're going to invest into jail. For them in the end.
There's a template.
Yeah.
There's a template.
Yeah.
And sometimes I don't fit the template.
Well, don't worry about it. The game has changed. It's the anointing that destroy the yokes. And God has
placed
something.
Now you're going to preaching. Come on.
He has placed something on you, Pastor, they can't deny.
Yeah.
And so the numbers
God's
are there.
been good, though, Charlie. Please hear me.
Yeah.
God's been good. In spite
of. That's why you got to keep on moving. And don't post nothing on Facebook that make our friends mad.
All right, I'm done with that.
Rap98.com. You can watch us streaming live on Facebook as well as go. 10 o'clock tomorrow, this show is going to air again at 10 a.m. Tune in to Rap98.com, 24 hours, 7 days a week. Thank you. Thank you, Pastor Anderson.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
God bless you. See you tomorrow.
Bye-bye.